In The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3, Chapter 19, whatever you want to call it, we are treated to a side story. Now, a lot of Star Wars fans don't think it's a treat at all, but I'm on the other side of the fence of that argument. I actually think Doctor Pershing's story is one of great significance. While the main story of The Mandalorian Season 3 remains Din Djarin's quest for acceptance back into his tribe. Okay, I'll stop calling it a cult. Why do we call it a cult anyway? Because they have one rule? Or is it because a lot of people view religious fanatics as cultists? Judgy, aren't we? Anyways, the story revolves around Din Djarin, Grogu, and bo-katan Kryze. The main story. Not so much the Dr. Pershing stuff, yet. But the fact remains, this story was about the shy doctor with the ear infection. Yes, I know his ear was shot off by Cara Dune, but that wound isn't where he's having the issues. He literally puts his finger in his ear. Not on the wound. By the way, did anyone notice his ear seemed to heal throughout the story? That's significant to show that the betrayal of Elia Kane took some time in working on Snuggles. I mean, Doctor Penn Pershing. It wasn't over just a couple of days, as we're led to believe. There's a lot to get through on this subject of Dr. Pershing, so let's get to it. And hear me out. Before you focus your attention on your caps lock, watch the whole video to see what I'm getting at. If you still aren't convinced by the end of the video, by all means. But before I get into Dr. Pershing, a quick word from our sponsor. Yeah, that's me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a big thumbs up. I'm on a voyage to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that journey. I know every YouTube channel asks for your subscription, blah, 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 but I absolutely promise to deliver on my word. With me, you'll get the best Star Wars content YouTube has to offer, all original content. So let's blow this channel up like a watermelon at a Gallagher show. Gallagher? Who remembers that guy? Murderer of fruit. All right, sidetracked again. Let's get into Dr. Pershing and why his story is so important for The Mandalorian Season 3 and beyond. We're shown that the good doctor has switched sides. Good doctor. For now. He is presenting himself and his work to the New Republic in the same theater that Chancellor Palpatine was schmoozing Anakin Skywalker with the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Have you ever heard that story? Obviously, Plagueis didn't understand how the Sith culture worked. All right, back to it. Dr. Pershing made his case to the rich and elite that the work he was performing under the Empire was good for humanity, and I would assume those citizens who didn't share the human genome as well. Afterwards, there were cocktails with the 1% and some pompous remarks. Then Penn Pershing is rushed off to his new home in the Amnesty Quarters, fitting name for those turncoating with the New Republic. In a common area, former Imperials enjoy a tasty beverage from their beer pong cups. Pershing is hesitant, but only because he recognizes one of them, former communications officer to Moff Gideon, Elia Kane. Yeah, right away we can tell she's up to no good. What follows is Elia Kane breaking down Pershing's emotional barriers and his trepidations of trusting former Imperials, especially her. I mean, the whole time you just want to give the guy a hug and a Q-tip. Turns out that Dr. Pershing's initial reaction was correct, and he should have followed his gut instinct and stayed away from Elia Kane. She coaxed Pershing into finding the necessary lab equipment he would need to continue his genetics project. Finding, yeah, I know, she knew right where to steal it from. The whole time we just wanted to scream, "She's setting you up, buddy." A blind man could see it, and we were right. She betrayed him and handed Pershing over to the New Republic for another lesson in how to listen to his new overlords properly. Not that the entire New Republic is bad, just some of their practices are questionable. A lot of Star Wars fans say that Pershing and the other former Imperials should have been imprisoned, and I tend to agree with that. But in our own real world, when Germany collapsed near the end of World War II, Yes, Germany's collapse wasn't the end of World War II. The Allies were still at war with Japan. Anyways, when Germany collapsed, the United States and Russia employed Nazi scientists to help with creating the atom bomb, rocket technology, turbine jets, and our space programs. And I got the feeling that this is what was going on with the former Imperials and the New Republic during the Mandalorian. Those deemed useful were employed by the New Republic. But Pershing's story didn't end there. After he was betrayed by Eliakim, he was taken to a facility where the Mon Calamari brainwasher, attendant, was prepping Penn Pershing for another go at being a good Republic citizen. Wait, did that fishhead guy really say he had been through this treatment? Why? I thought the Mon Cala were decidedly against the Empire. Why would he have been mind-flayed by the New Republic? There was the mention that this was old Imperial tech and maybe the Empire used it on him. But then again, why would the Empire have made it a pleasant experience for Mr. Catfish? So is the New Republic using this machine on even those loyal to them for even the most minor infractions? Probably not, but it just seems like a hint that maybe parts of the New Republic aren't as utopian as it seems on the surface. Sidetracked yet again. Or am I? When the attendant leaves the room, Eliakim turns the machine up to 11, then watches as Pershing suffers. Unable to see who did it, Pershing begins his not-so-pleasant rehabilitation, and this is where things are going to go dark. Penn Pershing will likely not come out of this unscathed. Duh! In fact, if he remembers anything, he's going to come out bitter toward the New Republic, where we wanted to just give him a hug in the beginning and say, "It's going to be okay, big guy." Now, I don't think a hug and a few comforting words will change what he's been through, nor what he's going to become. But there was another character in recent years that we had these feelings about. The feelings of happiness and joy. And Penn Pershing is becoming familiar to that character. Dr. Octavius in the Spider-Man series, or Dr. Octopus. Remember how Octavius was kind and lovable in the beginning, but it was a machine that twisted him. No, Penn Pershing will not grow 4 tentacles out of his back and wreak havoc on the good citizens of Coruscant, but he will likely become that mad scientist. But this was the whole plan all along. There's someone in the shadows pulling the strings of Dr. Pershing. I've talked about that in another video and another video. It's either Moff Gideon or Grand Admiral Thrawn. Seriously, Thrawn makes a lot of sense in this case. Bitter at the New Republic for lying to him about how his treatment would be easy, Dr. Pershing will stop being this lovable cat. Cat as in dude, and he will be part of the cloning experiments that will ultimately bring Palpatine back and create Snoke. Then again, we don't see the result of having the machine turned up to 11, and he could just die or become a vegetable, in which case this story was pointless. I've had a couple of people confused on the timeline of this story. How could his ear have healed in the short amount of time it took Din Djarin and bo-katan Kryze to go to Mandalore and be redeemed for their transgressions? Sure, there's back to tanks and back to shots and back to this and back to that and back to the story. Well, that isn't the full timeline of Dr. Pershing's story. No, this took place over the course of about 2 years, from the time he was shot in the ear, throughout the rest of The Mandalorian Season 2, and throughout the Book of Boba Fett. This story was going on. As I said in the beginning, some Star Wars fans are confused as to why we got a 40-minute story arc for this character who seems unimportant. Well, it's because he isn't unimportant. Dr. Pershing is going to play a larger role in the rest of the story. Think about it. He's a cloning genius. Where have we seen clones post the Clone Wars? I'll let you all answer that one. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Is Pershing a useless character? Did he die? Is he going to attempt to clone Grogu, Palpatine, Snoke, or any number of other characters from The Mandalorian and beyond? I do read all comments, and I try to respond to as many as I can, except trolls. I don't respond to them. I'm not calling you trolls. You're cool. But there are those looking to get a rise out of me. Nah, go find an echo chamber. There are plenty of them. But that's all I have for today. Before I go, another quick word from our sponsor, me. hit the subscribe button and give the video a like. I'm really trying to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that next phase of this channel. The YouTube algorithm is more difficult than pulling the ears off a Gundark, but together we can conquer it. The algorithm, not pulling ears off animals. I don't condone that sort of thing. But thank you all for hanging out with me today. Until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way. And positivity in the Star Wars community should be the only way.